The Steelers are 1-3. Time to play take your pick. Which 1-3 team do you have the most faith in, Christopher?
Ooh, good question here. I do like the way the Giants play football. I do. They're a 1-3 team that I like. Okay, it's not my pick here. I'm just talking out loud a little bit so we can have.
And they should be 2-2.
They should be 2-2.
They were the victims of that crap offside call on the field goal.
No doubt. And you could argue that they blew the opportunities against the Falcons, and they could be 3-1. So they're a team that's on my radar. But I think ultimately I'm going to pick the New England Patriots. I am. I mean, they're another team. Should be 2-2. Outplayed the Dolphins in week 1. Kind of screwed that game up. We saw what they did last week. I know Tampa's not at full strength, but it just shows you that they're not going to be outclassed by any team. They're not going to be like, oh, man, we're really outmatched here. Of course, we know they're coached well. Their schedule, it sets up a little bit for them to be able to win some games here going in the future, too. And that's what makes me pick them. I'm going to go Patriots.
I'm going to, as much as I don't want to do this, I'm going to say the Vikings at 1-3. No, you know what? No.
He loves them. He loves them today. He loves him some Kirk Cousins.
No, I'm not. You know what?
What?
Because the Vikings are in the same division as the Packers. I'm going to say the Colts.
Colts, I hear
one
you.
game behind the Titans.
Yeah.
And they've gone through their injury stretch. And I think most teams are going to deal with that window at some point. The question is, when does it hit? With 17 games, it's going to get more teams than not. And if they can get on the other side of this, I'm impressed with what they did against the Dolphins. And they've been completely written off after losing their first 3. And they're one game behind the Titans. And I think that they are a viable candidate to win that division, host the top wild card in the AFC, and lose by 30 in the wild card round. But still, the idea that they can make it to the playoffs, of all the 1-3 teams, I'd say they're the most likely to get to the playoffs right now.
I hear you, Mike. That would have been another team I would have brought up too. You're right. There's talent there. The defense is certainly a top 10-ish defense. And if they can get the run game going like they did last week a little bit, Carson Wentz, I do think, Mike, Carson Wentz is kind of like he listened to you, and he's realized, like, I got to adjust and not, play on the edge every freaking play. So there's something there, and I hear you. They're definitely one of the teams that I think is in that class right there.
All right, which 3-1 team is not as good as its record would suggest?
Ooh, which 3-1 team is not as good as their record would suggest? I'm going to go right now.
That's what I said.
What's that?
Quit buying time. That's what I said. Quit buying time.
Yeah, I am totally buying time. I'm going to go with the Denver Broncos right now. I am. I don't know. I guess I just need to see a little bit more. First off, I don't think their offense has been quite as good or as explosive as I would have expected. Let the Jags hang around. Last week, didn't move the ball, and I know Teddy Bridgewater got hurt. I can't remember who they played the week before that, but I remember being a little underwhelmed by their
Jets.
The Jets, right? It wasn't great on that side of the ball either. I know their defense is good, but I'm not sold on them yet, I guess is what I'm saying. So I'm going to pick the Denver Broncos.
I'm going to stay in that division, and I'm going to say the Raiders.
Yeah.
Even though you may say I'm salty because I picked the Raiders to win on Monday night. I finally gave in to the Raiders fans who were saying you never picked the Raiders to win, and I did, and thanks for nothing, even though my gut was telling me to pick the Chargers. I know it's easier for me to say that now, but I'm telling you the truth. My gut was telling me to pick the Chargers, and I'm done ignoring my gut.
It's got so much good pasta and meatballs in there, man.
14-0 two different times, down 21-0 to the Chargers.
Yeah.
They cannot sustain that. They have got to find a way to come out of the gates faster, and they're lucky they're 3-1 after falling behind the way they have in 3 of their 4 games. They've got to stop that, or they're going to be floating around 500 all year long and not good enough to get to the postseason.
I hear you there. That to me, it was the Broncos or the Raiders. Yeah, because you still got to question the Raiders and their ability to run the ball, the offensive line a little bit, and even though the defense has certainly been better, I just don't know if I don't know if I think it'll last. So I hear you there. I do. There's some questions there. Like with the Broncos, I go, yeah, they won 3 games, but it's against some lesser teams in football right now too, so where you just don't know exactly what they are.
There are 7 2-2 teams right now in the NFL, 2 in the AFC, 5 in the NFC. Which is the best of the 2-2 teams?
I still look at the 49ers as being a team that I think is, in the upper echelons or on the edge of the upper echelons teams in football. But, I mean, this is easy. I'm still going with the Kansas.
How many times are you doing it on purpose? Are you trolling us now with upper echelons?
I don't even know. No, I'm not trolling you. I'm an idiot, and I just say it because that's how I say it, okay? I'm not. I promise you. I know. Upper echelon, okay? Sorry. No, I'm going to still go with the Kansas City Chiefs. I am, just because, of course, their offense, and I have faith in what I saw last week that Patrick Mahomes will stay in the pocket, and if Andy Reid will ride this offensive line a little bit, which I think can be dominant. I mean, dominant. They opened up holes last week against Philadelphia that you would have ran for 5 and 10 yards in some of those holes. They can kick some butt. I don't know either. But either way, it brought the Eagles up a few times because they started going, damn, we gotta stop the run. We can't play deep for Tyreek Hill. Their defense is sucky ducky. I don't know what to say. It is totally fallen apart, and that scares me. But the offense is still so good, and Mahomes is so good that I'm going to say they're the best 2-2 team.
Of the 7 teams that are 2-2, 6 of them went to the playoffs last year. The only one that did not was the San Francisco 49ers.
What do you think?
I don't like how they've handled the quarterback situation. I don't.
Yeah.
And now we have more uncertainty as to whether or not it's going to be Jimmy G or Trey Lance on Sunday. But I think the 49ers are the best right now of the 2-2 teams. The one 2-2 team that didn't go to the playoffs last year, I think they're the best of them. And they should have beaten the Seahawks on Sunday. They should be 3-1. And they could be 4-0.
Yeah, they
had
could.
The Packers game 1 after falling behind 17-0.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. I hear you
All right.
there. I mean, I think roster-wise and team completeness, they probably are the best team. But the quarterback situation's what scares me, and that's why I'd give the Chiefs just the edge a little bit.
We only have one unbeaten team in the NFL, and we are down to only 2 winless teams. The Lions.
You're skipping one. Worst 2-2 team.
What did I skip? The worst 2-2 team. I did miss one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. Instead of allowing me to kind of, finesse my way through that and come back around, I was so excited about Jaguars or Lions as 0-4. I missed the worst 2-2 team. Which one do you think is the worst?
Okay, I'm glad I called you out there. That was fun. I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with Washington. I think Washington is the worst 2-2 team right now. I don't know if I totally Heineke. I got a lot of respect. I don't know if I'm totally bought in there yet. And I think the thing that concerns me more than anything is their defense. I mean, their defense is just getting absolutely torn apart. And yeah, if it wasn't for some Heineke magic last week, they're going to beat the Falcons, or the Falcons are going to beat them. So they're the team I look at right now to be the worst 2-2 football team.
I agree with you. I have to mention the Saints here, though. They are on this weird Jekyll and Hyde thing.
Right.
Where one week they are phenomenal, and the next week they are like, what in the hell is wrong with the Saints? And we've seen in past years, recent past, where they struggle early, and they snap out of it, and they start rattling off wins, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, they were 2-2. Now they're 8-2, and you don't even notice that it happened. It's time.
Yeah.
And they play Washington this week, so this is a good elimination test. One of these teams is a fraud at 2-2, and this is the week for I don't know whether it's Dr. Jekyll or Mr. Hyde, which is good in this context, but you want to show up and be like Mr. Hyde and kick the crap out of somebody, and I came dangerously close to saying kick the not crap, different word out of. I'm too close. I'm telling you, my brain tried to betray me on that one and get me in all sorts of trouble. But anyway,
I hear you.
I have concerns about the Saints because they've been so ridiculously inconsistent, and it's time to stop being inconsistent.
Right. I mean, offense has been weird, right? I mean, it's, offense has been weird in some games where, they run the ball, but they can't really throw the ball consistently, effectively. So there's been that question. Last week, Jameis Winston played pretty well. They ran the ball pretty well. Mike, I'll tell you, and to talk about your inconsistency, the thing I didn't understand, and I talked about this on my podcast a little bit, is they just were way too over-aggressive on defense in the game. That was my assessment. I mean, they played the Giants like they were playing the 1993 Cowboys. People at the line of scrimmage, in your face, bump man-to-man, like they were worried about the Giants' offensive line was going to gash them in the run game. And all they did was set themselves up to get gashed by the Giants, who got sneaky good weapons, and Daniel Jones, who's throwing the ball great. So I didn't understand the approach of the game plan last week. That was a little confusing to me. And I hear you. It's very inconsistent, but I do have faith in them. They're still big and physical, and they got Sean Payton, so I'm hoping they turn it around.
Now we arrive at the final topic. Which 0-4 team is more likely to go winless all season? There are only two, the Jaguars and the Lions, who have been there and done that in 2008. They went 0-16. Of the two, and I would say probably neither will actually do it. That 17th game is another chance to avoid going winless. But of the two, which one do you think is more likely to have the goose egg all year long?
I mean, Jacksonville has more talent than Detroit. That's the one thing I do look at it. But, like, the Jacksonville, I mean, this whole thing and just, it makes me wonder a little bit. I have more faith in the Lions coaches. I got more faith in the Jaguars players. That's where I'm a little stuck in between here. I think at the end of the day, I'm just going to go with the players that are talented. So if you make me choose either one that goes 0-17, I'll take the Lions, even though I'm with you. I don't think that realistically will happen to either football team.
Looking at the schedules there, it looks like the Lions have maybe a little bit of an easier run. But we're going to talk about the Jaguars situation coming up, but they do have to be concerned about this weekend. A loss makes them the third team in NFL history to have 20 straight losses. They are 6 away from matching the Buccaneers of 76 and 77, and they are 10 away, 7 from matching the Buccaneers and 10 away from matching the 1942 to 1945 Chicago Cardinals, who lost 29 in a row. That's the all-time record. They have to really be concerned about it. They've got some spots coming up where they could maybe get a win. They could win in London against the Dolphins. They could beat the Falcons coming up. That's the game that would get them to 26 in a row. But right now, I'd say with everything that's happening in Jacksonville,
you're going to choose them?
I'd say the Jaguars. Yeah, I'd say the Jaguars.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.